Assalamu alaikum, sharaglas, hello and welcome to Afghan Cooks. I'm Miriam, I'm the Afghan that cooks. Today we're going to do something that is not exactly Afghan. We're going to make banana bread. It's a chocolate banana bread. And this recipe I've had forever. I made it up years ago. I have it in my little book right here. You can see it's a little bit messy, but I have spent a long time perfecting it. It's a chocolate banana bread. Bananas actually, I don't know if they grow in Afghanistan, but they're called kela. This is kela in Afghanistan. Let me know in the comments if you know if they grow in Afghanistan. Bread, of course, is dudi or naan. So I guess we would say the kela dudi. Except we all know that banana bread is not really bread, it's more like a cake. I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and I have a loaf pan here. And I'm going to spray some Baker's Joy. You know, they sell a dupe of this at Aldi, and it is flour and shortening in one. Now, for the ingredients, we've got 3 bananas, some baking powder, baking soda, vanilla. I've got some baking chocolate here, some baking cocoa. It's unsweetened cocoa. I have some sour cream. You can also use yogurt or non-dairy yogurt or milk. Some chocolate chips. Of course, I have sugar. And of course, we have flour. There's not that much of it, but thankfully there's just enough salt. And eggs. What we're gonna do first is make sure your bananas are ripe. The reason why I'm making this recipe today instead of something else is that these bananas were getting really overripe. So when they are getting too brown, actually if they're even browner than this, it's better. And we're gonna smush the bananas into this little bowl. Now we're gonna put all of the wet ingredients into here. 1/2 cup of sour cream. Oh, premature growing. Okay, now I'm going to take my eggs that I have warmed up. And there's 2 eggs, okay? Take them out when you're preheating your oven. Now you're going to see me, I'm going to look down at my recipe, but it's not weird because I wrote this recipe, right? It's not weird. It's not weird. And then we're going to do 1/2 cup of sugar. And then add about a teaspoon. I'm actually going to just add the rest of my vanilla because it's almost gone. Stir all of that together. When I was growing up, my mom would make cakes, but I'm going to show you what we had in my house. When I was growing up, we had cake, but it was like this. Now, it was not this kind because there were no of these real off-brand ones. These are from Aldi. Aldi, you should sponsor me. But this is what we grew up with. Funny thing that what I realized when I looked into baking cakes more professionally and people who bake cakes for weddings is box cake mixes are very popular to use for commercial cakes. Who knew? But my family actually did have bakeries. So my uncle and my aunt, my khala and mama, they both owned bakeries. And you can see this is just stirred together. Nothing too fancy. And now we're gonna add dry ingredients. We have our sifter here. I'm gonna take 1 cup of flour. Afghan cooks is rustic country cooking, right? This is a rustic country. The ghanano, the kela, durida. No chistine guarde. You know? What do you want from an Afghan banana bread? 1/2 cup of unsweetened cocoa. You know what's really funny is if you feed this to your kids, they love it. They think it's hilarious when you're like, hey, you want some chocolate? And then they eat this. They love you when you do that. Hey guys, you want some chocolate? You don't want any of this?
No.
I'm gonna do a teaspoon of baking powder. I think this is a teaspoon. That's a 1/2 teaspoon. That's 1 teaspoon of baking powder. 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Sift this into here. Do you have to sift? No, you don't. If you don't have time, if you don't feel like it, if you don't have an appropriate sifter, don't do it. But it does make it a little bit easier to stir if you're not going to use something that's electric. You make sure you don't have any flour pockets in there. Stir all of that together. Now I'm gonna add my bananas. What's better, guys, zucchini bread or banana bread? I don't want to have anything to do with zucchini, period. I don't even have a recipe for it. I don't think I've ever made it in my life. You can see the difference when you add the bananas. It was a very tight little dough initially with just the other liquid ingredients, and the bananas act like more liquid. Now we're gonna add our chocolate chips, usually about a half a cup. You can add more, you can add less. These are dark chocolate chunks and chocolate chips mixed together. We'll start with a half a cup. And then we're gonna add some on the top too, okay? It's a really easy recipe, guys. Don't be intimidated by it, don't be afraid. Super simple, it comes out perfectly almost every single time, all right? Okay, now we pour it into our prepared dish. We're gonna set it for 45 minutes and we're gonna check it after 45 minutes, okay? Our cake is done, bread. I'm going to turn it out. You can see it's still very warm and gooey. A slice of this. You can see how chocolatey that is, how moist it is. And that was in there for about 50 minutes. Now let's give this a taste, okay? The cocoa is delicious, the chocolate's chocolate. It's a great cake, you should make it. The Kela Rudi. Here, I'm gonna have you guys do a couple of things for me tonight, okay? I want you to subscribe. I want you to hit that like, thumbs up, yay! And the bell notification so you'll know every time we make a new video. And until next time.